4 lifelong friends.
You know, I got Sat Chase right here, that's my brother, that's my twin.
Okay.
And I got Juvie.
A brotherhood that should have never been broken.
Just a lot of your friends who passed?
Yeah. Nah, them my niggas right there.
Oh, okay.
YNW Melly, is this a case of battling demons?
All right, Melly is loving, genuine, turned up, happy.
What happened that night in 2018?
But Melvin, I only let him out at nighttime. And I need to stop doing that.
Jamil Maurice Demons, aka YNW Melly, was in the midst of newfound stardom when one event, one fateful night, changed the complete trajectory in the route that he was taking. Many would say that there was no way that he could commit these type of crimes, but the evidence itself, say something different.
I ain't get to roll no weed, I ain't get to roll no swishers. I was locked up on...
Melly was born May 1st, 1999 in Gifford, Florida. He was raised by his mother, Jamie Demons King, who was only 14 years old and in the 9th grade when she became pregnant with him. Now, earlier on, it was said that he did not know who his biological father was. As a matter of fact, it was a rapper named Dante the Give Taylor who was claiming to be YNW Melly's father. But I believe now, up to date, he has been in contact with his biological father. Now, they moved to a poor side of Gifford, and this is where he met his brothers, Cortland Henry, YNW Bortland, Christopher Thomas, YNW Juvie, and Anthony Williams, YNW Sack Chaser.
They love us and hate us. Like, they happy to see us. They happy to see us when they see us. You know what I'm talking about? When we were talking about that jump back in the day, they like,
swipe under.
They want to chill. Them niggas crazy. Rapper, that's what you want to be?
In 2016, him and his brothers, they came up with YNW, Young Nigga World or Young New Wave. Now this included Sack Chaser, Juvie, and YNW Bortland. In 2017, while he was still locked up, he released his first project, Collect Call. Now this contained many features of well-known artists, including Lil B and John Wicks. Now in 2018, he released the single Blue Balenciagas, Melly the Menace, and Slaying That Iron. Now this is when your boy started going crazy on SoundCloud and YouTube. I believe he amassed like 26 million. In 2018, he released a debut mixtape, I Am You. Now this thing popped off on the Billboard 200. And then he got the biggest cosign in the world by Kanye West himself.
Whoa, I got murder on my mind. I got murder on my mind. I got murder on my mind. Wake up in the morning, I got murder on my mind. AK-47, Mac 11, Glocks and 9, and all these pussy niggas hating, trying to knock me off my grind. But I can't let them do it. I got murder on my mind. Bitch, I got murder on my mind.
Melly has always had problems with the law. He was arrested on October 19, 2015 on 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and 1 count for discharging a firearm in public after firing shots at 3 people near a high school. He spent like a year in jail before being released on probation. In 2017, he was arrested again for violating that probation and had to spend several more months in jail before being released in March 2018. Now this was around the time when he started to get a lot of online fame from SoundCloud and YouTube. But he was arrested once again on June 30th, 2018 in Fort Myers, Florida for possession of marijuana, possession of a weapon or ammunition by a convicted felon, and drug paraphernalia. He was arrested again on January 3rd, 2019 for possession of marijuana. Now, it is said that he is battling demons. He has said in many interviews that he has an alter ego named Melvin. He's always been trouble.
I seen some shit shining. It was a 22 revolver, a real gun. I'm a kid though, so I just walk out the house and I shot that bitch. And I couldn't hear out my ear for like a week. But then I was like, damn, this is a real gun, you know what I'm saying? I was only in 4th grade, but I took that bitch everywhere. To school, I took that bitch everywhere.
Melly versus Melvin. This is a real thing. A lot of the times people don't understand the severity of mental health. Now, I'm not saying that anything would justify his actions that transpired that night, but what I'm saying is that this young dude is deeply troubled in a way that we can't even understand.
Like Melvin, my other person inside, Melvin, that motherfucker, yeah, every day, all day. That's what he be thinking. Shit, some people think about pussy when they wake up. Some people think about shoes. Some people think about weird shit. And they wake up with the murder on his mind. And I'm like, I ain't, bro. Do you? He been inside of me. Like, he been in, like, mentally, like, inside of me, but I ain't have a name for him, like, when I was in the streets. Until one day, I met Hennessy. And then he was just, I looked in the mirror, he was like, Melvin!
What happened that night between these four friends? It is something that had us going back and forth on the internet for the last 3 years. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take the evidence and we're gonna compare it to the facts. And we're gonna see if we can make some sense out of it. Now, how did this story begin? This story began in South Florida on October 26, 2018. Melly, Bortland, Juvie, Sack Chaser, they were all leaving the studio, okay? This is where things get tricky in the beginning. At first, Melly said that he jumped in the car with another friend. That was later reported to be a lie. Now we have the four friends traveling down Interstate 595. They merge into I-75, and this is when things get very, very murky. According to Bortland, as soon as he got off the exit of Miramar and crossed over 160th Street, he received a hail of gunfire on the right-hand side of the vehicle. Now, according to the diagram, you can see that the two friends were sitting on the right side of the vehicle. That would be YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie. Now, when you look at the pictures of the vehicle that they were riding in that night, you would think that everything that Bortland said in his testimony could be corroborated. But what I want you guys to do is pay very, very close attention to the direction of the bullets. Now, according to Bortland's testimony, when he got off the exit, he received a hail of gunfire from the right side of the vehicle. Now, the problem is the wounds that was found in the autopsy of YNW Juvie and YNW Sack Chaser just does not add up to bullets coming from the right side of the vehicle. I want you guys to pay very close attention to this photo. This will be where YNW Sack Chaser was sitting. There is no way, and I repeat, no way, that the bullet came from the right side. Now, the report of the autopsy reads as follows. On 12/5/2018, I received the autopsy report for Williams. It stated that the wound path on the neck of Williams was from back to front, left to right, and upward. This was a contradiction to what was stated that a drive-by occurred on the right side of the vehicle while in motion. Williams also has a gunshot wound to his right shoulder and his chest. It should be noted, none of the flight paths from the exterior of the vehicle matched the wound path on the rear of Williams' head. It was obvious the projectile entered from the left rear side of the vehicle. This will be where ynwmelly would be sitting. Bortland's testimony states that once he was under fire from the right side of the vehicle, he immediately lowered his body position to the floorboards in a protective posture to avoid being shot. He also states when he sat up, his friends, Williams and Thomas, were shot, and he immediately proceeded to the nearest hospital. Now, this statement right here will later be a very, very crucial piece of evidence, and I'm going to explain. Now, I'm going to show you guys a map of the location that these guys were saying that they were in, okay? Now, when you look at where the supposed drive-by occurred in the direction of the hospital, there's just no reason why he would have took this other route. Now, Bortland pointed out a particular block on Miramar Parkway where this alleged drive-by supposedly took place, but it was notated that the area was shut down between 160th Ave and 172nd Ave on Miramar Parkway and was closely examined for any evidence to corroborate the statements made by Bortland. After a long and exhausting examination, no evidence was found. Now, it was said that detectives and officers walked shoulder to shoulder on a 12-block radius on foot looking for any shred of evidence to support this man's theory, and again, no evidence was found. It was also notated in the report that there was no reports of gunshots being reported to Broward County Communication Center or Miami-Dade Police as well. So now we got an alleged drive-by that supposedly had took place and nobody heard absolutely nothing. Now, with all of the contradictions in YNW Bortland's testimony, I guess we can all honestly say that that man is a liar. Now, the report goes on to say the cell site warrant for the cell phones of Demons, Thomas, and Williams revealed they traveled west on Miramar Parkway, but turned north on Southwest 184th Avenue towards Pines Boulevard, and then turned west on Pines Boulevard. Now, if you look at my little map, they go completely away from the hospital. They could have easily bust that right and been right at the hospital, which contradicts what YNW Bortland was saying, that after he received all of the gunfire, he proceeded straight to the hospital. Well, according to my map and these cell phone towers, he did not do that. Now, video evidence shows the gray Jeep Compass traveling west in the 19,200 block at 3:53 a.m. and returned eastbound at 4:06 a.m. Cell site data from Demon's cell phone corresponded with the actual crime scene location, which is in jurisdiction of Miramar, Broward County, Florida. Williams' cell phone also registered at the same location as Demon's. The cell phone for Thomas registered on a cell tower near the crime scene, but separate and apart from the false reported drive-by location. Now, I want us to take a look at something. Cell phone records and K9 units led police to a completely different crime scene other than the one that Bortland testified about. Now, if you look at this particular area, there was a lot of projectiles that was found, giving a lot of light to this being a staged encounter. Now, where this location is, it was completely en route to the way that the cell phone records picked up that Bortland was traveling that night. Cell phone data showed that they went north on 184th Avenue from Miramar Parkway. And as you can see, the crime scene sits dead smack in the middle of his route. He proceeded north until he got to Pines Boulevard, where he went west. 10 minutes passed, the Jeep was spotted coming back eastbound going towards the hospital. Now, when Bortland got to the hospital, Juvie and Sack Chaser was already deceased, and ynwmelly was nowhere to be found. Now, that data also shows the moment that ynwmelly and YNW Bortland separated. It was actually 2 minutes before he got to the hospital. GSR was never found on Bortland's hands. However, they did find it odd that he arrived at the hospital in something other than he had left the studio in. Underneath that hoodie, he was wearing a t-shirt, and blood splatter was found in the front side and the back side of that t-shirt. When the autopsy report for Thomas, aka YNW Juvie, came back, it said the entry wound on the left side of Thomas's face was an intermediate wound. It should be noted there was 3 centimeters of a stippling pattern around the entry wound. This means that whoever shot YNW Juvie was very, very close. I mean, arm's length close, okay? This was also in contradiction to what Henry stated to the affiant at the hospital when he attempted to mislead the affiant into believing this was a drive-by shooting. This evidence shows the initial lethal shot occurred from inside the vehicle and was initiated from the left rear passenger side. Again, if you look at this diagram, the left rear passenger side was only seating ynwmelly, the same position occupied by Demons. An intermediate wound, by definition, will indicate a distance of 3 inches to 3 feet between the victim and weapon. However, due to 3 centimeters of a stippling pattern, the weapon was in close proximity to Thomas's head. What happened that night to make a brother turn on a brother? There's been many conspiracy theories. A lot of people say that Sack Chaser and Melly had an ongoing love affair. It was also said that Sack Chaser had threatened ynwmelly's mother. Either way, it still is no excuse for why Juvie was hurt that night. And I don't understand, how could 4 black boys trying to make it out end up in a tragedy like this.
This shit like a dream. Shit we done prayed for. It's like really hell. Everybody proud, like everybody happy. But we still hungry at the same time though. We still want more.